It's Matchmaker Christmas, and I'll be matching your holiday favorites. Keep watching. Hi, it's Fran Morgan with Fabric Cafe, and I'm your Fabric Matchmaker. We have a very jolly episode for you today that I'm so excited to share with you. We have 3 participants that have sent in great holiday fabrics, so can't wait to share. But before we do that, let me just tell you a little bit about what Matchmaker is. Matchmaker is where you, the viewer, send in a swatch of fabric, and then I go and match and put 2 other fabrics with it and choose a pattern. So if you're interested in that, stay to the end and I will show you how you can submit. So let's jump into our very first holiday fabric. It was sent in by Karen. Now Karen sent in this fabulous Grinch fabric, and I want to say, Karen, whenever I saw it, it really took me back to my childhood, because I know I always watched the Grinch episodes during Christmas, and they were very special to me. So this was really fun to work with. It's just got so many great colors in it. It's got your green and your red, of course, for the holidays, as well as lots of oranges and yellows and pinks and all kinds of things, blues. Very, very cute. So let's read what Karen says about her fabric. She writes, I have enjoyed giving a Grinch for Christmas gifts to each of my 10 siblings. Now just 7. Not sure they all appreciate them, but I love the Grinch. I found this material and have made homemade pot holders and pillowcases. I would love to make a small quilt for myself. I need help. Well, Karen, I think we have something fabulous for you. I cannot wait to share it with you. So let's check out the pattern. So the pattern that I have chosen for your Grinch fabric is called Town Square. And I chose this for a couple of different reasons. One, I really wanted to highlight your Grinch fabric, which of course is always what we want to do with our focus fabric, which is where I placed your fabric. And I kind of played with it, and whenever I finally chose the matchers, they worked so perfectly as the border for this focus area here. Let's just put it on the table because I can't wait to show you. I just thought it turned out darling. So Karen, as I mentioned at the quilt, I did put your fabric in the number 1 position. And as we all know, that position is the star of the show. We really want it to pop. So I have placed your Grinch fabric right here in the middle in this block of the town square. Now for the number 2 fabric, I had so much fun with this. I used this great white with the circles. Now what's really special about this fabric, and I just have to do this, this is actually a fabric that I designed in my Flower Power line. And I thought it worked so great with the Grinch fabric because I love that all the colors in the circles, all these little dots, pick up all of the colors in your Grinch fabric. And it picks up the circles as well because you have all these circles on here. So it was really a lot of fun. It is going to go on the corners here, everywhere that you see the blue. We're going to see the image in just a minute, and you're going to see how fun this really is. Now for number 3, we have used a red, and this red actually kind of goes dark and light. It has a little star on it, which I think is perfect for holiday fabric, and it picks up all of the red in your Grinch. Now this is your number 3. It is going to go everywhere the green is here, as well as on your binding too. All right, this worked so well and turned out so stinking cute. I'm going to show you. The image is now on the screen so that you can see how well the number 2, the number 3 play with your focus fabric. And it really highlights your fabric. I think it's got that fun quirkiness that's all about the Grinch. You know that. So it's very, very fun. Now, Karen, for participating today, of course, I'm going to send you the book Easy Peasy 3-Yard Quilts. This has our town square pattern in it. I'm also going to be sending you a yard of the number 2 and a yard of the number 3 fabric so that you can make up that quilt. Okay, so let's check out what we have for everyone else so they can make something similar. Okay, so for the rest of you, we found some more fun Grinch fabric. Now we have some very similar coloring here, and we have our green, and of course our Grinch is on here with our little quirky smile that he's got, our red hat, all of these fun little packages, snowflakes, perfect for our number 1. It's going to go right here. Then our number 2 fabric is the same fun circular print that goes everywhere the blue is. We got just a touch of that on the border too. And then of course our number 3 with our nice red with the star, of course picks up the red in this one just as well as it did in Karen's fabric. And that is going to go everywhere the green is. Now we have an image on the screen for you of this one too, and you can see it looks just as darling. It makes the Grinch fabric really feel like it's floating on top of the surface of the quilt. Love, love, love it. So let's get you the kit number. That is 8023234. It is called The Grinch Me. It is our town square pattern from the Easy Peasy book. So our next participant is Mark, and Mark sent in this darling fabric with all these little Scotty dogs on here, all dressed up and ready for Christmas. So darling. Got some sentiments on this as well, and we've got a great story on this one, so let's read what Mark says. He wrote, "Who doesn't love a sale or a chance to save a fabric orphan? That is what this is. I bought it and then thought, pillowcases, aprons, or just stash? Now I know what I want to do. My grandchildren have a black boardoodle, Frieda. She may not be a Scotty like the fabric, but they will think it's Frieda and Friends. Now the challenge. It's a light background type fabric, but based on the business, it should be the star of the show. Then what should go with it? And should the pattern be Christmas or kid-friendly? Please help." Well, Mark, I think we've got some great suggestions for you here. I will go into a little bit more about the fact that your fabric is the focus fabric with a light background. And I have to comment, Frieda is the most darling little pup ever. Thank you so much for sharing the photo and your fabric. So let's look at the pattern that we've chosen. So this is Picture Perfect, and Picture Perfect is a good one because a couple of things. Focus fabric in this position here can be a directional fabric, which is what yours is. And then we have our number 3 bordering here with our number 2 in the center of that as an alternate block. So we're going to put this on the table and I'm going to show you how to place your fabric and why this pattern works so well. So Mark, as I mentioned, I am going to place your fabric in the number 1 position. Now you showed some concerns in your letter that this is a light background for a fabric 1. Well, one of the tricks that I like to do whenever I'm using a light background number 1 is to pick a pattern that has a border between the number 2 and the number 1. And in the case of this pattern here, you can see how the number 3 borders the alternate block and separates the number 1 fabric as a light background and the number 2 fabric as a light background. So it would work really well, and I like Picture Perfect as well because, as I mentioned, your fabric is a directional fabric. This block will be cut independently, which is the perfect way to use a one-directional fabric. So it's going to look great. Now, I also want to mention something else. Just because the number 2 fabric is the lightest fabric after you take the focus out does not necessarily mean that it has to be white or light. It can be the lightest of the 2 remaining. So in our case, we have a red and a green, the perfect holiday colors, which picks up the red and the green and Frieda's fabric here. And the red is the lightest because we have a lot of white in it. And that is going to go in this block here that is bordered. So keep that in mind. Just because it's the lightest doesn't mean it has to be white. Your focus fabric can be white and really steal the show. So that's how that works. Okay, so this is darling fabric going right here. And then our number 3, I really like this. It's a really bright, cheery Christmas green, and it picks up the perfect green in all of your sentiments here and your wreaths and everything. That is going to border this right here as well as your quilt. So it's going to give a little sparkle there, just a little touches, and separate those 2. So for those that choose a lighter number 2 fabric when making their Picture Perfect, that's a great tip, and that's how that works. So let's check out the image of the quilt all made up. You can see it turned out absolutely darling, and the star of the show truly is Frieda and the fabric there representing her. And I think it really turned out really, really sweet. So Mark, I hope that your grandkids absolutely love it, and give a snuggle to Frieda for us whenever you see her next. All right, now for participating, Mark, I am going to be sending you the book, Quick and Easy 3-Yard Quilts. It does have the Picture Perfect pattern in it. And then I'm also going to be sending you 1 yard of the number 2 and 1 yard of the number 3 so that you can make up your quilts. All right, now let's see what we have for everyone else. Okay, I was able to find something very similar that I think is absolutely darling. It also has Scotties on it, and it has a little bit of this kind of a knitted theme going on here, which I think is really cute because we've got our gray trees with our black Scotty, little touches of red with the scarf around its neck, and on the snowflakes, some hearts, and it kind of looks like all of these are knitted, which I think is kind of fun. If you've been watching us for any time at all, you know that we have some knitting in our background. So that's some of the fun that I really enjoy seeing that incorporated on the fabric. So this is our number 1. Once again, we have a directional fabric, but it works perfectly in our number 1 position here. And then our number 2 is the fun red. And of course, the red's going to pick up all of the red in our number 1, giving it that cohesive look. And it also has all those little knitted it looks like there's little stitches in here, which I think is very cool. That will go in this alternate block here. Now we've done something a little different with this one. We've put a black with it because I think this little black polka dot as our number 3 picks up the black and the Scotties just a bit. We are using it as the border, so we're using it in a very kind of limited way so that our focus fabric really shines. I think it's darling with this. I think it just worked so well. And it's kind of a unique and fun holiday quilt. So let's check out the image of that. As you can see, it really turned out nice. I love the red, white, and black, and I love that this still has the Scotties on it. I think it's absolutely darling. Turned out really well. All right, our kit information on this kit. It is called Frieda and Friends. The number is 8023235. The pattern is Picture Perfect from our Quick and Easy book. So the next stitcher, Martina, sent in a very unique Christmas fabric, which I found very fun. It actually has that vintage feel, and it has some interesting Christmas colors too, which I really kind of like. It's a little different twist on Christmas, and I always kind of like that. So we have this really nice beige, kind of creamy beige background on this, and then it has all of these green, like dried flowers, some little Christmas tree topiaries here. Very fun. We've even got some pumpkins thrown in there because we know those are still around at Christmas. Very fun, very cute, and very vintage. I really enjoyed it. So Martina, let's read your story and share what you say about this fabric. She writes, "Hello, Fran. I bought this fabric during harvest season in Illinois. It reminded me of the last flowers, drying herbs, and that Christmas is just around the corner because the pine tree. Thank you for your help." Well, Martina, I have got something really fun for you, and I think you're right. Christmas is just around the corner. It'll be here before you know it. So let's look at the pattern and see what we've got for you. Now, Martina, I have chosen the Heartland pattern for your fabric, and I did this for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted a nice space here so that your fabric would really show up. Your fabric is a one-directional fabric, so we needed to be able to use it in a space that it did not get turned. And of course, you know Heartland is one of my favorites and goes to, and that will take care of that here. It's also a proper scale for this block, which I really like. The other thing is I think that your fabric, being a vintage fabric, has that traditional feel to it, that I wanted to put it in a more traditional pattern like Heartland here. So let's put it on the table and check out those matching fabrics. Okay, so Martina, as I mentioned, I am using your fabric in the number 1 position, and that is everywhere you see the black here. Now this is going to work well because your fabric is a directional fabric, and I didn't want it to be turning in the block here. So I think that's really important. Now your fabric it is a kind of a Christmas fabric here, and it has some very unique colors, which I really like. We've got this beige background. So for the number 2, I picked up a beige that was very, very similar in color. And it's kind of a crosshatch with a dot, so there's a little bit of interest and texture so that it's not just boring. We don't want boring. You know that here at Fabric Cafe, we always want a little zip to our quilts. And even our simple backgrounds like to have that texture to it. And what's great about this texture, so keep this in mind, It is a beige, but it has a darker beige on top. And if you look closely at your fabric, Martina, you will see that it has a beige with a little speckle to it that kind of picks up the darker lines in this. So that's why I chose that. Now this fabric is going to go everywhere the green is, as well as on your binding. So it's going to really add some fun interest for the background there. Now for number 3, we have picked up your darker kind of plummy purple that was there. So all of these colors right in here is the same color as this here. And that was very important to me to bring that out because I think it's a secondary color in your fabric. And often with our number 3 fabric, I like that pop, but I want it to still coordinate and match. So I brought in kind of the lesser of the colors, if you would say, which is that purple. Now this purple is the number 3, and it's going to go where our little half square triangles are here, as well as the center of our block. It is also going to border your focus fabric, which I think works perfectly because you can see as it's laying here, this purple is like a perfect match to the purple in this. So I think it works really, really well. Really like it. Very fun fabric. I think it's kind of neat, and I've kind of gotten into this vintagey stuff. I think it's very fun. All right, let's check out the image of this because we all love those images. So you can see Martina's fabric in that beautiful image there of the Heartland quilt, how well it goes together, how that beige is the perfect beige for the background, and that purple gives it the little pop that we're looking for. All right, so let's look at the pattern here. Our Heartland pattern is in the Pretty Darn Quick book. And Martina, I'm going to be sending you this. It's also got 7 other patterns too, which are great. And then I'm also going to be sending you a yard of your number 2 and a yard of your number 3 fabric. All right, let's check out what we have for our kit for everyone else so we can make something similar to Martina. Okay, so I wasn't able to find, of course, an exact match to Martina's fabric because her fabric is a vintage fabric. It's a truly vintage fabric. So I found something that has that feel, that vintage feel to it, that's going to give you a similar look to hers. Now, it's a little bit more traditional colors in that we have a red instead of the purple. But I like this one, and it's really interesting. It kind of looks like there's a newsprint in the background, and then we have all of these fun toys on here. We have bears and dolls, and those spinning tops. I don't even think they make those spinning tops anymore. I remember having one of these as a kid. It was fun, and I liked it. It was painted really bright colors. I liked that. It's got some boots. It's got all kinds of things, little scooters, a red wagon. Oh my goodness, so much fun. Now this is going to be our focus fabric. It's going to go everywhere the black is here, as well as on the border. Very, very fun and interesting. Now this one's a tossed fabric, so you could put it in some other patterns as well. It's not one directional like Martina's was, but it's still going to work equally as well in this space. Then we have a similar number 2 here. We have our beige with our dot and our crosshatch. Once again, it's going to pick up the beige in the background. And what's really cool is because this kind of looks like newsprint back here, it's got the lighter beige and the darker beige, just like Martina's fabric. And this fabric picks up both of those, so it works really, really well. So that is going to go everywhere the green is here. And then our number 3 fabric is this fun swirly red. I love this red. This is one of my go-tos, I think, this style of fabric. The reason why I like this is because it has so many different shades of red in it, and it'll pick up all of the reds in this. And whenever this is put into our square and our half square triangles here, it's really, really going to pop off of our beige. And then of course it is going to border our number 1 fabric. So once again, the red is one of the secondary fabrics in this, and it's going to really play well together. So I think it's great. Now let's look at the image. You can see how darling it really turned out. Such a fun vintage feel too. I know that all of the antique toys and all of the fun things that bring back those memories of being a kid at Christmas time and Christmas morning, just such a fun memory. And this fabric really did that for me. Let's look at the kit info on this. The number is 8023236. It is called Christmas Around the Corner. It is the Heartland pattern from the Pretty Darn Quick book. Thank you so much to all of the participants today. I really love doing a Christmas video in the middle of July. It was really a lot of fun, and it gives us plenty of time to work on our Christmas projects. So thank you so much. Now, if you would like to participate in Matchmaker, all you have to do is visit our website, fabriccafe.com, go to the Free Goodies tab, and then download the form Fabric Matchmaker Submission. Fill that out and send in a fabric swatch. That is pretty important that I get that. I prefer a 12-inch swatch over a 6 so that I can get a really good image for the quilt images, which you know we all love. So be sure and do that. Also, I want to invite any previous participants to send me a photo of your quilt. I would love to see those made up. Just send that to matchmaker@fabriccafe.com. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. I'm Fran Morgan, your Fabric Matchmaker. And Merry Christmas in July.